Welcome to the Boomer Briefing Podcast, your opportunity to get insights into the accounting profession. So we're coming to you live after we've wrapped up two insightful days of CAAS Circle meetings. So I'm Jim Boomer, CEO of Boomer Consulting, and I'm joined by Jacqueline Lombardo, our operations manager, and one of our facilitators of the CAAS Circle as well. And we had a great 2 days.
We did.
We were in two different rooms.
Yes, we did.
So we had two groups. We had a little bit of overlap. But I imagine we heard slightly different things. But why don't we just talk a little bit about, like, what are the things that stood out in terms of discussions and key points that your group zeroed in on?
Yeah, I've got three that come top of mind, and I would not be surprised if they came out in your group as well. But the first one is AI. I think you may have heard that as well, but really talking about how can we apply AI within the CAAS practice. What are firms doing? What technologies are they using? What technologies are they not using? But also, how are they upskilling their staff within AI? So we talk so much about AI, but what are we really doing to prepare our different levels to leverage this AI and help with automation and figure out how to really use those tools to the best of our ability? I'm assuming you probably heard AI as well in your circle.
100%. Even when we were talking about something else, the topic always made its way back to AI.
Always back to AI, which also comes to my second one, which is pricing strategies. We really talked about what are the pricing strategies, how are we packaging things, what are clients looking for, and how do you even start that? So I know some of the firms are a little longer in their journey within their CAAS practice. A lot of the firms I was speaking with, they're really starting just learning of, like, what even services do they have and how can they start to package them and what does that look like? So that was a big one that bubbled up for us as well, which I think you spoke on it. So
yes.
pricing was there.
Yeah, that was actually the one we had both groups together.
Yes.
And 100%. And I think the key point of that whole discussion was, we focus on the end result, which is important, which is growth and firm growth. And the key point was our bottleneck is not necessarily growth and the opportunities. It's our pricing strategies and how we're approaching that. And so we tied it to a growth framework, and it really got people thinking about everything you talked about, packaging, pricing, but how do you message things? And then we even got into some of the elements of the firm structure that lead to more siloed thinking and siloed go-to-market strategies, that there's huge opportunities to have a lot more coordination and collaboration to bring that together to capitalize on a lot more opportunities for the firm, but also to add a ton more value for your clients, which ends up as a win-win situation.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about, how do you even get that internal messaging with your pricing strategies? So when talking with clients, they can look for those opportunities that we don't even know about. And then the other big topic our group talked about was really around the recruiting, retention, and leadership development. And really started to take a look at, for the firm of the future, what skills are we going to need? Because what we have today is going to change. So yes, we need CPAs, but do we need data analysts, project managers? How are we going to hire for those? How are you even attracting talent for your advisory services? Do you even list advisory services on your webpage? And then we really dove into, when it comes to retention, do you have a retention strategy beyond just compensation and bonuses? Are you giving your team purpose, or are you really, just saying, here's the work? And how are you connecting that to the impact you're having with clients? And then we talked a lot about leadership development. What skills are people going to need? Talking about how technology is a leadership skill. As technology becomes more and more, how are you, again, upskilling people? Because in CAAS, as a leader, you're connecting technology to your clients and the outcomes you're producing. So we talked about all of that and had a really great discussion, because there's a lot you can do. But for a lot of it, you've got to start with one place and even just see where you are and what skills you have in-house.
Yeah. Very much tracks with my third thing. I mean, a little different, but we were talking about how do you elevate from the transactional compliance services to advisory, but then that led into the whole talent play But I'd say one key thing that came out of that is just we're at a point where we need a sense of urgency from the leadership level down throughout the team. And that has to start at the top. And we're no longer at an optional point in terms of evolving and upskilling our team or thinking differently about how we go out and hire talent. We've got to move now because things are moving and they're moving fast. And if we don't start now, we risk becoming irrelevant and obsolete.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually great what we talked about as well, because we said if you're not doing that, then your talent is going to go look for those options, whether it's within the profession or outside of the profession. So the urgency is here because if you're not doing it, talent's not going to wait around.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we hear a lot of consistency through the two groups. And, if I think about, to kind of close up our discussion here, I think an important part of every circle meeting is to give them time to think about, so what? I heard a lot of great things. I heard ideas from my peers, things I hadn't thought about. But what am I going to commit to taking back? And so we do a planning session. And what I heard a lot of was, we just need to go back and question some of our core assumptions around processes and technologies and things that have just been taken for granted of the way we've always done things, and go into it with an open mind, because we've heard approaches that are very different than ours that are working for other firms. And there may be a blend of what we do today and what they're doing that can make it even better. So I think there were a lot of commitments and prioritized commitments. We made them stick to 3 so they can actually get them done. But all in all, a very successful couple days with our groups here. And so thank you, Jacqueline, for joining me. I want to thank our audience for listening. Certainly, if you liked this conversation or you've seen the Boomer briefing previously, please do subscribe. We love to have our regular listeners. If what you heard Jacqueline and I talking about, piqued your interest and you want to learn more about the CAAS, the Client Accounting and Advisory Services Circle, we'd love to talk to you. Just go out to our website, www.boomer.com. We've got information out there. You can also click on a button and get connected to our solutions team, and we'll set up a time to talk. So thanks again so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you on the next episode of the Boomer Briefing.